Not again, Monique. Oh, come on.
What?
Sugar pie, what? I'm trying to get some peace here. Okay. Oh. How do you know? I'll just get up.
Because the first thing I would like to ask you is why you became a musician, or how, or did you have it from you were a little guy? Have you always been interested in music or playing guitar, or did you have any other instrument that you were?
No, in fact I was thrown out of my school music class. They used to give me the triangle.
Okay.
But and then they used to say in about 5 minutes you've got to go ding, and of course in 5 minutes that gives my mind time to wander. And there was a particular schoolgirl in the class that I liked, so I used to pinch her bum through boredom and waiting to go ting.
Yeah.
And so I did just that. I went ting and then pinched her bum, and I was told to stand outside the class and not come back. So that was, I had no interest in music whatsoever.
No.
The music thing came about when I went with a friend as a 14-year-old to see Status Quo in Leicester, England, and we were right at the front. And little did I realise, about 40 years later, I'd actually worked with them as well as an adult, or a fellow musician. But that's what stuck me onto the guitar, and then as fate would have it, my father, who very rarely ever went to the pub, probably went to the pub 2 or 3 times a year, if that, came home one winter's night with an old battered, cheap Japanese guitar, electric guitar, and he bought it for £1, and he was going to paint it and then resell it for £5, as a bit of an hobby. And he brought it in, and I remember sitting on the sofa, and he says, "Look what I've just bought for £1." And I said, "Wow." And this would be about, this was 1977. Yeah, 77. 76, 77. And I says, "Can I have it, Dad?" And he says, "What do you want it for?" And I said, "I want to learn to play the guitar." He says, "Here then, there you go." And I taught myself. I never had a lesson, never had a lesson. And it's a bit like driving. Once you've got into a lot of habits, and it's difficult to then get structured and somebody to say, "Oh, this is how you do it, this is that." But what I didn't realise until I started jamming with a few friends, once I'd learnt my first few notes, was that I'd tuned the guitar totally wrong. And they were playing a D chord, which is now known as a D chord, and when I played the same chord, it sounded awful. And then I realised after about 6 weeks, I've tuned it to an open tuning, which I realise now, which is what the slide guitar is. It sounded nice to my ears when I played it. I thought, "Oh yeah, that sounds great." But that was actually an open slide tuning, which is what I use on the silver guitar, the bottleneck guitar now. And so then I had to relearn again. So I had to learn how to tune it properly. And then we formed a little band, and had our first gig, which was great fun, and just about burnt down, because the bass player's dad was an optician, and he had a warehouse at the back where he stored all his spectacles and his cases and optics and different bits and bobs. And we nearly burnt it down because we wanted to make a big impression for our first gig, and the band name was called Prowler, and there was only 3 of us. We didn't have a drummer, we didn't know any drummers, but Dom, who actually was the original bass player for that band, he wrote a book all about whiskey. He went into the music business moved to Australia, became a music journalist, and he now writes, is an expert in whiskey, and he wrote a book all about the different, for whiskey connoisseurs. But we had these gunpowder in metal ashtrays to make sort of flash bombs. It was a big introduction, and the whole place nearly went up in smoke. So we got told off by his dad because we'd burnt a few of his plastic spectacle cases, and that was my introduction to rock and roll. And that was it. So that's how it all started.
Yeah, it's how it started.
Yeah.
And if you look at that, where you're sitting right here and right now, you have told me, but is it something that made impression on you right there and right then? Do you know what I'm asking? That you still have with you in the heart, like a kid?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The passion for playing the guitar. It's I could never have ever have envisaged the way it would have took me, the path it would have took me. I've still got the same passion for it. Obviously, I'm more knowledgeable about it now in the business and the industry, from a professional aspect. But from a playing point of view, yeah, it's been my best friend. It's been there when I was a child. It's been by my side all through the years, and but I could never ever have envisaged the journey it would have took me on. Never. But it's always been there, and at times of desperation, when I had €2 to my name, or in English 3 pence, I've bussed on the streets of Leicester to earn some money to eat. It bought me and my German wife at the time our first house. I used to earn £15 a week packing bras for mother care. I used to pack them during the day and unpack them at night. Yes. And I can undo a bra strap with 2 fingers just like that. That's what you get with practice. So it's been there when I've had no money and I needed to eat. There was quite a dark time in my life where I had no money whatsoever at all. And but the guitar, standing on the street corner, I was always able to eat, and I've never ever forgot that. Never. But then but the thing with the guitar is whether you're feeling down, not that I am very often, but if you are, then after 10 minutes of guitar playing, I've totally forgot what I was feeling sad about. So that's the sort of thing it does for me, and it's just the most remarkable best friend I could have ever had, or anybody could ever had, who appreciates playing the guitar.
Can I just ask you something?
No.
What's going on in your mind?
In my mind?
Yeah.
In my mind, just enjoying the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And enjoying being with fellow musicians.
Yeah.
Because that's my life.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the sound of the amphitheatre and looking forward to engaging the audience's reactions to different songs.
Okay, thank
There
you.
you go. Yeah, there you are.
Are you ready? Yeah. Are you ready? Now we're going to get down and dirty. This is a song about a dirty woman from Almeria.
So in one point in your life, you became a member of the Doctor and the Medics.
Yeah.
How was it to be in such a band?
It was magical, magical. You could never ever imagine the journey it would take you on. The people you would meet, the oddballs and wackos you'd meet, the fun people you'd meet. You'd meet every walk of life you could possibly think of, good and bad and indifferent, and the ones in the middle as well. It was fantastic. It's quite funny really that when you start playing for the first time and you see Top of the Pops and you see bands on your heroes, you know, on TV as a young boy, and then when you start playing the guitar, you often dream of all these playing Wembley and playing this, that and the other, and big festivals and with all the bands as you would class as famous. So you have this dream, but when it actually happens, before you get to the point where it happens, you do ask yourself, can I handle it? Would I be good enough? From a guitar playing aspect, and also could I actually handle that sort of pressure when you've got 18 million people watching you live on TV? And I remember two things really that come to mind. One is that Dr. The Medics had never ever played a working men's club. I had in my earlier days, but as a band we hadn't. And Clive said to me, that's the doctor, but in the wings, we were in Leicester, a working men's club in Leicester, and not a very nice working men's club, it was a bit rough. But when they give you the big build-up, ladies and gentlemen, the star act of the night, the one you've been waiting for, number one hit band, Doctor and the Medics, Clive turned to me and said, I am so shit scared. And he looked to me for support more than anything, because he knew I'd been there and done all that. And I said, you've got no to worry about, buddy. We'll just go out there, kick ass, do what we do, don't worry about it, just give it to them. They'll either like it or they don't. If they don't, they'll soon let you know, because that's that sort of audience. They don't mix their words. And if they think you're crap, then they'll say, get off, you're crap, don't give up your day job. But we went in there, but he was shaking. So that was that experience, and equally on that same vein, on Top of the Pops, he was the same. He was shaking in his boots, and he said to me, "Are you all right?" I said, "Yeah." I said, I was almost like a gladiator waiting to fight. I was so ready for it to happen. The cameras were in the wings, and you get when you go to the BBC studios, you're given a member of staff that will look after you all day. They iron your clothes, they polish your shoes, they put you go to makeup, you do all the makeup, and they are with you. Their job is to look after your needs, not sexually, but just in general, for the whole of the day until the shooting is finished, and then you go home. And so they looked after us. But I remember Madness were on as a band. Madness, we were on with Simply Red, Madness, UB40, Chrissy Hind from the Pretenders. She's a lovely girl. And so you've seen all these what you call famous people, but what you tend to just get used to is that yes, they're famous, but then again they look upon you the same light, and you become friends with these people, and they're just like normal people, most of them, apart from the oddball. And so with Doctor and the Medics, it was great. Yeah, it was just an absolutely awesome experience, and it's like a professional footballer being signed for, say, Manchester United, and you want to do well for yourself, so you don't let your friends down in the band, and you just want to do as best a job as you can possibly do, and that's what I did. And I feel, looking back now, that I was always mostly professional. There was a few instances where I weren't. But in general, looking back, I feel proud of what I achieved with them, and also what they achieved and we achieved as a band. So it was great, yeah, great.
Good.
Yeah.
A question that pops up since there is a myth going on that musicians have a lot of girls.
Yeah.
So and I know that you have been married. What was the was it like that? And did the family, was they supported during your time as a musician? And
Well, for starters, wherever, even when I was 14 practicing, there'd be girls hanging around my friend's bedroom outside hearing us practice when we couldn't even play. I don't know what it is. That it seems to be that whenever there's a guitar being played, there's a woman hanging around somewhere. And what happens is the groupies get better looking as the more famous you get. So if you're starting in the pubs of England, in the downtown London or wherever, you get the Spit and Sawdust sort of places, you get the Spit and Sawdust sort of girls. They're no different. You don't meet. My mother used to say to me, "When are you going to meet a nice girl?" And my answer to that was, "Where are you going to meet the girl next door at 4 o'clock in the morning in a nightclub in Watford? You're not. She's going to be pretty pissed and stoned, but she's there for a good time, and she might be pretty and might have big tits. She might have something about her, and so you get to know them, and they become friends and lovers, and then you see them regular at different gigs. They'll travel around following the band around, and they become friends. So when you're next in town, you've always got somewhere to sleep, if you know what I mean. And you've always got some beans and some food, because they will always look after you. That's the other thing about groupies. Because the thing about being a musician, you are very much in a bubble when you're on the road. Very much in a bubble for, say, 3-6 months. It's just the band. And all your family are getting on with their lives, and your friends are getting on with their lives, and you've missed the barbecues, and your friends have said, "Oh, are you in England? We're having a great barbecue." No, I'm not. And so what people don't realise about the life of a musician is you lose all aspects of normality and normal life. So when I come back from home, from the road, you'd meet up with some friends, but they'd be talking about subjects that you don't know anything about because you weren't there to experience it, or watch England play Scotland, or whatever it may be, or something happened somewhere. So you missed weddings, you missed funerals, you've missed birthday parties, you've missed everything, and it can alienate you in a lot of ways, because you'll go to a family function because you're actually in the country at the time, and people will come and ask you how are you, but they don't want to know necessarily that you're in Russia or Poland or bloody Australia or wherever, because they can't relate to it. That's somebody that famous people do. And even when we were on TV and the family got together, they can't relate to it actually being my mum's son, or her son on the TV. It's very, very surreal. And you feel very much you feel very much like an outsider. You get a lot of jealousy, thinking, oh, lucky git, but there's no luck about it really. It's just how the life is, and what the other side, that they always say there's a bad part of every job, and the bad part of the one thing that not killed me off mostly was all the waiting and hanging around and travelling. It's great going round the world once. When you've done it 3 times and you've seen the same places, and you don't get many days off because the record company want you to just work you to your bone, to the bone, until they've got the last ounce out of you, and then you've finished. Your shelf life is finished. Bye bye, next act, and then they will push that, and it's. When Spirit in the Sky was #1, the medics were in Germany, Munich, and it was Clive's, the doctor's, birthday. And we had 20 Deutschmarks between us, 6 of us. And we bought him a fairy cake, and one candle and wished him happy birthday, and it was #1 in the UK at the time. And everybody thinks you're a multi-millionaire because it's #1, but it's not the case. You actually get paid royalties a year later. But because we didn't write the song, Norman Greenbaum wrote the song. He got all the royalties, and he got about £500,000 when our version of it was #1 in '86. So it's a false economy, really. You know, people think that hey, you must be rolling in it, but no, far from. We were being worked to the bone, literally.
So what you're saying is this picture and this myth that people have of like you as a band is that it's kind of hard to have a normal family life, and it's a really, really hard work.
Yeah.
It's not glorified at all. It's just like being a really hard worker.
Yeah, because the punters, the audiences only see you 2 hours on stage. They don't see the 15 hours flight, the 15 hours driving in the bus. They don't see the tiredness when you're living with 6 people in one bus for 3 to 6 months. All those little things that annoy you become massive things. And then you mix that with other elements such as drink and drugs. I mean, I never did that sort of thing. I didn't drink and I didn't really particularly do any drugs, but it was there on offer all the time. And some of the members of the band, they would participate. So their personality would change. Add to that tiredness and irritability. Then you've got almost an hand grenade on 4 wheels, waiting to explode, and that's quite often is what happened. You know, the little things. It's no, you know what it's like when you travel, say, to America on a flight. When you land, you're not in any mood, really, to start partying, and you just you're tired, you know. And then the record company say, right, yeah, here's the tour bus, off you go and do 15, 16 dates, in all over the place. And they don't care. So you are a product at the end of the day. And yes, it's great fun. It's a roller coaster ride. It's like Clive said, the doctor. He said, look, we're never going to last 10 years. We're never going to be Led Zeppelin or Deep Purple, where there's 40-year careers. This is going to be a 5-year career, if that. Today we're the best thing since sliced bread. Tomorrow we're in the bin and tomorrow's rubbish. And he was quite right. But the music carries on, and a lot of people have said to me, I can't believe that you're playing in my pub, my local, and I saw you on Top of the Pops, or I saw you you know, on an Alice Cooper tour or something like that, and now you're in my local. I can't believe it. Why? But what they forget is that at the end of the day, we're musicians and we'll play anywhere, whether it's to a man and his dog, or whether it's to 100,000 people at Nebworth, England, you know, a festival. So that's why we play the pubs, and why I do what I do over here in Crete.
Yeah.
Because I still enjoy it.
So this period, how has it affected you as a spirit, and as a person? That period in your life.
Well, having met so many walks of life, and so many people from different walks of life, the good, the bad and the ugly, it really does hit home that the world is full of sadness, a lot of sadness. Though there are good people, you meet the good people. The problem with Doctor and the Medics is you get a lot of hangers-on. You get the people that want to hang out with you because they might get a free drink, or they might get a free hit with some drugs because they think band, drugs, drink, it's all free. The trouble is, it's not free. It comes out of our money. You get prostitutes hanging around because they think they can get a free ride, you know, with somebody famous. Women have even betted each other to see who's going to bed who in the band, and then you get the people that want to make money out of you. I remember a time when we played at Edinburgh Playhouse with Slade. We were doing I'd done 5-6 tours with Slade as a double billing type thing, and we were playing at the Playhouse, and there was 4 guys outside at 4 o'clock in the afternoon as the bus pulled up, and we get off the bus, and these guys are saying, hey, we're your biggest fan, you know, can you sign this for us, you know, I can't believe you're in town, I can't believe it. So, oh, cool, and they've got a pen, so, okay, and then pass it down to the other guys. Then he says, would you do one more for me? Yeah, no problem. So he reaches down to a bag behind him. He says, sign this one, sign that one. Okay, right. Just one more, please. Just one. Okay, right. And then you look round and he's got a bag full of pictures. And all his friends have got rucksacks full of pictures. And you don't realise, but they're walking round to the front of the theatre selling them to people that have paid tickets to get in to see us. And you think, no, that's not right. Or you see them on eBay, signed photograph, Doctor of the Medics, £25, original photographs. And then you start thinking, well, there are a lot of people out there that have tried to make money out of our situations and things. Some have made some good money out of it. Yeah, and they always the other thing is they never want their name put in on these photographs, because if I said to Steve or to Barbara, it's worthless. But if you just sign a photograph, then that's what people want. It's worth selling from their aspect. Because you always say, well, you know, who is it? You know, oh no, nobody. Just sign it. So that you learn pretty quickly that there's a lot of people out. So when some people, you get very good at sussing people out very quickly, which you have to really, because you can, you know, you can waste a lot of time talking to the wrong people. So what I've learned is that the world's full of a lot of strange people, a lot of lovely people, but you learn very quickly. It's almost like learning to live on the street. You learn who to be with, who not to be with, and where to go and where not to go, and what to do and what not to do. So you become very, very cute with it. Yeah.
So then I just want to ask, why did you decide to step out of the band?
Right, well, after so many years, and I've done so many things, 2 things really. Number one, I was tired of touring, very tired of touring, very tired of travelling and doing the same songs every night. And there was a couple of instances. It wasn't something I took. It wasn't a quick decision. It took me 9 months to decide. And the main reason being was I was unhappy. I was bored, basically, just bored to death of doing the same stuff. At the end of the day, I'm a creative person, a musician. I wanted to do new things, because when you're a young 20-year-old, you know. As you develop and grow older as a person, you want to do new things. Your style of music that you like when you're 20 isn't the same what you like at 30, and so on, so on, so on. So, but at the time, my time and the Medics decided, I decided to knock it on the head. The Medics had really lost its following, it lost its spark. And so much so that what was the nail in the coffin for me, and the big decider, was doing a gig in Plymouth, which was an 8-hour drive, to play to 10-year-olds at a 10-year-old's double birthday party, with Coco the Clown as the headliner. So we were supporting Coco the Clown. And I had something like in the region of nearly £5,000 worth of equipment, guitars and amplifiers, to play to 10-year-olds. But what was so hilarious about it because the parents of these 200 kids had booked the band because they, as parents, were fans. But we wasn't told that it was a kiddies party. We thought it was just a big function. So when we arrived there, all these little kids, 10-year-old kids, like I say, there'd be about 200 of them. So you can imagine one massive playground full of 200 kids, just mayhem. But Clive used to put makeup on, and he's 6'4". So then put him on top of a 6-foot high stage. The kids were squealing with fright because there was this figure in a big cloak that was ginormous to them, looking like a monster, and they were squealing and frightened and screaming. It freaked them out. And when I stopped the night, obviously stopped the night overnight in a hotel, and when I was driving home all the way back, I thought, I've had enough. This is not why I wanted to play the guitar, and I wanted to do new things, and that's what I wanted to do.
She's got a nasty reputation and a talent for sin. She's the kind of trouble I like to be in. I want to be her lover, I want to be her slave. She's the kind of lady makes me misbehave. She said, if you wanna be bad, then you gotta be good.
But now
Yeah.
you have the band the Rockin' Rebels
Yeah.
that you are together with.
Yeah.
So I just wonder, how did it start? How did it become that? And did the guys find you, or did you find the guys, or is it?
Well, it's quite funny, really, because the whole idea of me coming to Crete was to not play the guitar, was to actually get away from it, to be honest with you. And for 10 years, I did just that. I used to have, if I had a little party or a little get-together with a few friends, I'd just get the guitar out and strum a bit, because I'd spent most of the year playing in and around the world. So the last thing I wanted to do was to come here and start playing again. So the whole idea behind Crete was to have a break from gigging and playing and just to basically just chill out. So I did that for 10 years and nobody really knew me because that was the way I wanted it. I just had a handful of people that I knew and went out for a meal with, and that was it. And then one particular night I went down to the local taverna in the village for a bite to eat en route to the internet cafe that was there. It's not there now, in Alvareda. And I was sat with a guy that I knew, an electrician, and two guys walked in with two guitars. I didn't know them, but they knew of me. And my friend said, "Oh, I know these two guys. I'll introduce you." I said, "Oh, you don't bother." I said, "Because I'm going out to the internet cafe and do some business and bits and bobs, bit of browsing." And he says, anyway, the two guys recognised me, and they said, "Hey, come over and have a jam, So I said, "No, it's your gig, whatever you're doing. It's your thing, I'm on my way out." "No, we insist, we'd love you to come and have a jam. Go and get your guitar." So an hour passed talking music and with these two guys that I've just met. So the internet cafe idea went straight down the drain. I come back here and got my guitar, went back down there and started jamming with them. Just a bit of folk stuff. They were really good folk players, these two guys. Folk's not really my cup of tea, but or the thing. But anyway, I was enjoying watching them play and learning what they were doing. Anyway, then more people started arriving to the taverna and having a meal and sat round and singing and tapping and all of a sudden it was a gig. So then the long and short of it was that what was ironic was these two guys said, hey, we should meet again later in the week. This was like a Monday when I first met them. Let's get together on Thursday or Friday night at the same place at around 8:30. So I said, okay, yeah, we'll see. So that was it. So the night ended and everybody had a great time. We had a laugh and a giggle and a good old jam session. And I thoroughly enjoyed watching these two guys play their folk stuff because it was a style that I've not been involved with at all. So I was really enjoying learning about that. So anyway, I come back, forgot all about the idea of getting back together in a few days' time. So I always have a siesta usually from in the afternoon if I'm tired, so I'll have a bit of 2 hours. And I'd forgotten all about these two guys and what we'd arranged, or what they'd arranged for us with the taverna owner. And so I get a phone call that woke me up, and it was like 9 o'clock at night. And he says, where are you? I said, oh, sorry, buddy, I forgot. You know, I just woke up. Well, you need to come down, you know. So okay, so I splashed my face, quick, slicked back the hair, the bit that I've got, grabbed my guitar and went down there. But what was shocking was there was nowhere to park. And I thought, oh, there must be something on. I had to park miles away. And I was trudging up the hill with my guitar, and the place was heaving with people, heaving. There wasn't even a chair for me to sit on. And the two guys stood up and said, oh, here he is, and they all cheered me as I walked in. And I thought, it's strange. So I said to the guys, I says, what's going off here then? He says, oh, they're waiting for you. And I was shocked, a bit annoyed, to be honest with you, because I didn't really want that, really. But it was lovely, and so we ended up playing, and that was the start of the band. Nick lives in the same village, the drummer, box player. He came along and joined in, so that's how I met Nick, from a musical aspect anyway. And then it was just, so then them two guys went away on back home, because they were on a fortnight's holiday, and left me and Nick. So Nick says, hey, I really enjoyed having a jam with you. Shall we do it again? I said, yeah, okay, we'll do it, have a little plinky plonk and jam. And so it became a lot of fun, and I was really enjoying it, playing stuff that I hadn't been playing for years, since my club days. And a bit of 60s stuff and rock and roll and bits and bobs. And then a charity organiser who's very well known on Crete was doing some fundraising. Had a special day, April the 1st, a big gathering in Almerida, and he wanted a band to have a bit of fun with and a bit of music. So Nick and I said, yeah, we'll do it. You know, get us a souvlaki or a sausage roll and we'll do it, you know, for a jam and have a bit of fun, and obviously for the charity. So we did just that, and just as we were just about to start playing, just Nick and I, and a guy comes running up and says, do you need a bass player? I play bass, you know. I says, I'm sorry mate, but we're just about to start playing. The place is bloody full. We're just about to start playing. Well, I know the songs you're doing. I thought, well, how can he know? He's never seen us before. I've never seen the guy before. He's a cheeky bugger. Right? I looked at Nick, I thought, get this. And anyway, that was Trevor. And that was my introduction to Trev. And so the following, we did the gig, Nick and I, and it went down well and everybody had a great time. and raised lots of money for the local charity. And then I was invited to an open mic night in Keflar, and we went. And Nick said, "Yeah, I'll come." And then Trevor was there, and then he could play a bit, although he hadn't really been doing a great deal, probably 2 or 3 gigs a year in England, so he hadn't got a great deal of experience. But he had what I feel is more important, and that's the character, the charisma, and the enthusiasm to want to do it. So, and credit to Trevor, he put a lot of work in himself at home. A lot of work. I mean, I'm talking possibly 2 years worth of playing in a matter of 3 months. He must have been playing a lot, hours and hours, because then the next time I came over to Crete, he was a totally different player. He was a player, as opposed to just a plinky plonker, if you get all these terms. And so we had a band, and it developed from there, really, and that was it. That was the start of Carl Axon and the Old Farts, or Rockin' Rebels. That was it.
Yeah.
And we just started. We wanted to. I wanted to put a lot of things back into the society. You know, not just take. We want this amount to perform. We want that. Yeah, right. Yeah, give me a sausage roll and a cup of tea, and I'll play. And if we can send the bucket round and raise some money for the animals or for the Red Cross or for the charities, that's what's important to me.
Yeah.
Not what we can get out of it. What we get out of it is playing and enjoy playing, and the people. It's lovely that the people love to hear what we do. But at the end of the day, if somebody else can benefit from that, because we're all enjoying ourselves anyway, then that's the perfect situation, I think, when you can put something back into people that are not so fortunate. And that was the idea behind it.
So why do you think that Carl Axon and the Rockin' Rebels are so popular? Because you are quite popular on Crete.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a mixture of things. I think they realise there's no egos at all. When I first came to the island, people kept saying about this, that, and the other, and all these egos going on around the island. But what I found quite comical, funny, was the fact that they'd had egos, but they hadn't done anything to have an ego about. And here's little old me landing on Crete that had done most of the things that most of them had dreamed of, and I couldn't have an ego if I tried, because nobody likes big heads. My mother and father always brought me and my brother up. Nobody likes a big head. Nobody does. People might tolerate them, but at the end of the day, they don't like big heads. You've got to have a bit of an ego in our business, because you've got to have the confidence to stand on stage and do it. But we will have gone, I'm sure the others will say the same. There was a time when, I mean, I remember my first ever, well, not as a 14-year-old, I was quite a confident young lad then, but my first professional gig where I actually earned money at it was in a very rough bar, club, in a very, very rough town. And when they were coming to collect me, I was literally on the toilet. I was so scared and so nervous. I was on the toilet for about an hour, and then I heard the ding dong. I thought, my God, they've arrived. And my job was to play some lead guitar, which I don't particularly like. I prefer rhythm, but they already had a rhythm guitar, so they gave me the job as a lead guitar player. And in this massive, giant working men's club, and I was shaking, literally, as I was walking down the stairs from the toilet to open the front door to say, "Hi guys, is it time to go now?" It was like sitting in a dentist waiting room knowing you've got 5 teeth to come out. that's how it felt. Yeah, literally. Yeah.
So are you saying that you think that why you're so popular on Crete is because you enjoy to play the music?
Yeah,
and that you are good-hearted and...
No. I think first and foremost, they know that I'm genuine. I don't, no ego, and I do it with tongue in cheek, for fun. They know that. They know that I'm not in it for the money. They know I'm not in it for adulation. That's why I always tell Trevor and the band never to mention my name. Don't introduce me. They know who I am. They know what I do. I don't need anybody to clap me for what I do. I do what I do because I enjoy doing it. So I've always said to the lads, never say ladies and gentlemen, Carl Axon. Yeah, I'm not interested. I let the guitar do the work, and I'm having a ball playing it. And I think it's basically because the music's just no nonsense rock and roll. It's just dead down to earth. It's very working class. It's great fun. You can see the guys having a great deal of fun. We're not stood there like in Burton shop window, like dummies, dead move a muscle. We're there and we're playing the music. That's the important thing. We're playing music that we enjoy playing, and there's a big thing about that. It's like having a job that you just can't wait to go to work to do, and I think that people realise that we're in it for the music, and if we can help others benefit by raising some money, and they can see us having a ball as well, partying and having a good old laugh. We're dead down to earth, dead normal, no egos, no I want my dressing room and I want this and I want that, and don't you realise who I am type attitude, like I understand some others on the island have had. They who seem to have disappeared, by the way. They just took it that they were just dead down to earth, no nonsense rock and roll, and have a good bloody laugh as well, and that's what it's about.
So one last question about the band then. Do you still have groupies?
Yes.
Yeah.
There are always ladies around, bless them. We love our ladies. Yeah. It's a funny thing, really. I don't know. I've met a lot of ladies, but it's the fun element again. They see guys on stage, play or on the floor in Crete. We don't really have stages up over here. And they can see we're having a ball. They're getting off on the music. They love the music. Some of it's sexy. And excuse me, too many ciggies. And they get into it. They have just a few glasses of wine, and things start flowing, and it's the excitement and the sexuality of the music, and they're feeling hot, and we're feeling hot, and and it's the excitement of the moment, and yeah. There will always be groupies, always, and there are as well, because we don't have to necessarily go with them, because we don't. But it's nice it's a nice compliment, and it's great that they enjoy it as well. That's it's everybody likes to flirt and everybody likes to tease, and I'm no different. We have a good laugh, and yeah, bless them.
I just want to ask if it's some particular band you're here to see tonight.
Everyone.
Carl.
Everybody
But Carl. So what do you expect from Carl?
A good time.
A good time, really good time. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Hello. Hello.
So, an important question for me is, a friend of mine once told me that if you are a creative person, sooner or later you're going to start to believe in God, because you believe there is something more in this life than just being on this. So I just want to ask if you believe in God, or if you believe in that there is something more on this earth, or do you have a belief?
Well, I've had personal experience of it.
Oh, it's
Yes,
nice.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. In my experience, there's definitely something else. I wouldn't necessarily say God, but there's definitely something else. Something that changed my life was my father was a big fisherman, and he drowned with his friend whilst trout fishing in England, and the experience of that alone was quite traumatic, because the frogman, it was it was the beginning of October 1990, and him and his friend had gone out fishing on a boat on a lake in Northamptonshire in England, and in October, and it never came back. And what basically happened was the boat capsized, and the owner of the lake hadn't paid for buoyancy tanks in the boat, so the boat literally went down like a stone. And his friend, who was an 86-year-old Scotchman, went straight down with the boat with it. But my father, they were wearing waders, and my father was able to swim towards the shoreline and got one wader off, but the witness, who was another couple of fishermen on the same lake in a boat, said that they saw him heading towards the shoreline, but they didn't know whether he got there or not. So they don't know whether he lived or not. So it wasn't until the following morning that the police incident room at the lake phoned me up and said, look, we've got the frogman. They're just going to start again in the morning because it got too dark the night before. So it was the following morning after the incident, and I just took it on myself. I think you always get an inner strength. There's an inner strength that you get under such circumstances, that you just take control and think, right, this needs to be sorted. I now call it sorted mode. And when I go in sorted mode, it's like wiping the table of everything on the table and say, right, this is what I'm doing, and you just go for it. And I drove to the lake, and I've never been there before, never been there since. And the policeman said that there's one body under a plastic sheet there. Can you identify if it's your dad or not? Well, I never knew my father's friend, but obviously I knew my father, so I lifted the sheet up and there's a dead body, and no, it wasn't my father. And then looking across the lake, the frogman shouted something, and then I saw him pulling my father out over the side of the boat, lifting him off the bottom of the lake. So they brought him ashore, laid him down, and I acknowledged that, yeah, confirmed it was my father. But then, so that was that. I wasn't upset, I wasn't anything. I was just in a sorted mode, you know. But then, the most magical thing happened about 3 weeks to 4 weeks later, where I was lying in bed with my partner at the time, and I was having a nightmare, and I was flying above the lake and shouted out, "Dad!" And with that, I was upset, and I woke up, quite startled, turned over, and all of a sudden this force grabbed hold of me. My eyes were shut, but it's no different to knowing the pool's there, you're there, the camera's there, cigarettes are there. Knew exactly what my surroundings were, so I wasn't asleep. But this force grabbed hold of me, and I knew something was happening to me, but I didn't. Part of me was frightened, because I couldn't understand what was happening. But then but the feeling that was happening was one of the most intense and immense love. It was the most wonderful feeling. And it was a cool breeze, somebody like wafting a book across your face, and it came up through my legs. It travelled up my body as I lay in bed, on my back, like this. It came up my chest, and it was a bit trembly. It was a cool breeze, and then it got on my hair like that. Well, I used to have hair there then, and it sort of brushed my hair, and went. And I stood up, sat up, and I woke my girlfriend up. I said, "You ain't going to believe what's happened to me. I feel fantastic. Something that so magical has happened to me." She went, "What?" I said, "Well, I think my dad's visited me." And I've looked into it since, and they call it the comfort blanket. And not many young people have heard of that. Some will have done, but it only happens really if there's been an accident. But if you speak to elderly people that have lost their husband in an accident or heart attack or whatever, something that's happened in a tragedy situation, they've all had it. My mother had it. She was rushing to work. She was a nurse, and all of a sudden she was stopped. She was on the stairs, and she was just literally stopped in her tracks, and this calmness come over her, and then she just calmly walked out the door and drove to the hospital where she worked. Now, whether that's the only way I can describe that is almost like they can see what was round the corner or on that road that she was just about to join. And because she was rushing to go to work, it was almost to say, "Stop, calm down, the road is very busy over there, and there's a lot of traffic, and you're going to be rushing into that, but now I'll make sure you don't rush into it, you just take your time." And so, so that was my first. No, it wasn't. That was my second experience. But unbeknown to me at the time, on the day, in fact, on the hour it happened, I was due to do a gig in Coventry that night, and with the Medics at Coventry Theatre, and I was with my partner at the time, who was a lot older than I was, and I was walking. I was walking to a restaurant in Leicester lunchtime, and I had a phone call on my phone, a big mobile phone I had then, and it was a friend. To this day, I don't know who it was. I don't know. I can't remember who it was. But the phone call was obviously meant to happen, because that person said to me, "What time is it?" So I looked at my watch as I was about to cross the road, and I said, "It's 2:30 in the afternoon." I walks into the restaurant, sits down at a table like this with my girlfriend, gets the menu, and all of a sudden something stuck me almost like a knife in my back, made me fly out my chair. The table and everything went with it, all over the floor. Everybody's staring at me, thinking, you know, what's wrong with this guy? So behind me there were some plants like this, but they were a long, long way away, and I thought perhaps one of them had pronged me in the back. But when I lifted my shirt up and showed my girlfriend, she said, there's a red rash moving across your back." She says, "Really?" She says, "Yeah." I said, "God." But the plants were miles away from me, a long way away. There's no way they were that a long, 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 long way away. Never thought any more of it. And then 2 hours later, I get a phone call from a policeman saying, "Your father's been in an accident." I says, "Okay." He says, "We need you to come over to talk." I said, "Well, I can't. I've got a gig." And he says, "I don't think you'll be playing tonight." "All right. Can't say any more, but you need to come." But that prong in my back was at 20 to 3, and that was the time he died, because his watch that they got off his wrist on the bottom of the lake was 20-3. Now, how that changed my life was, as a young boy, I was only about 8 years old, and I'd got myself a new penknife, and my friend had a penknife, and I lived very near the Grand Union Canal with narrow boats and things. And this particular day, we were on the bank of the river canal, and there was a bird lands on the bank, and my friend said to me, "I bet you can't catch that." And I said, "I bet I can," and I did, which was took me by surprise, because birds normally fly away, but I did. And it's something I'm not proud of, but there is a reason behind it, in a sort of strange way. Well, I've been taught my lesson anyway. I did no more with my penknife and tried to cut its head off, as kids do. I'm not a cruel person, far from, but that's what I did at that time. But when I had the experience with, after the day after my father visited me spiritually, I had the most uncontrollable desire to go out and buy bird baths, bird tables, every kind of bird seed you could imagine. I didn't know why, I couldn't understand why, but I just went out and bought all this stuff and set it up in the garden and watched the birds come. And I think, well, I'm almost 90% sure that it was God, whatever it may be, saying to me, "You made that mistake when you were a young boy, and I'm going to prove to you and tell you now that everything on this earth, whether it be a fly, an ant, a bird, a dog, whatever, has got its own right to be here as much as you have, and you've got to all live together in harmony. Yes, you might not like spiders, but there's no need to kill them. Just put them outside. Same with flies. They've all got the roles in life. They're there for a reason. And so from that day onwards, I never killed anything. A fly, a spider, nothing. I just hand them out and look after them. And even I can't stand flies. Nobody likes flies. But I will put a glass over it with a piece of paper and then let it out. And that's what I've learned. Now, backing that up, and having had the years of experience of meeting people that have had out-of-body experiences or death experiences, everybody that's had the comfort blanket experience, it's changed their life, and it's always been for the better. Because I was no different to anybody else. Materialistic things, more, you know, money. And at the end of the day, it's nothing to do with that at all. So it totally changed my life and how I look at it. And that is also one of the reasons why I do what I do in Crete, to raise money for other causes that where people can help, get help, animals, you know. Some of the money that I raised a couple of years ago, which I was told later, was to pay for a German vet to come over and operate on a bitch that was pregnant with, and it would have died. And the money that I raised playing gigs had paid that vet to operate, and 8 puppies were born, and they would never have survived, and all the mother had that operation not been took place. And so that's what it's about for me now. Yeah.
Do you have any ideas about the band Rockin' Rebels, and do you want to develop it, or do you see something more about it?
More, yeah. The thing is with the band at the moment, up to this point, with me not living here until now, I've only had very little time to do much rehearsing and to work on it. I said to Nick 3 years ago, I've always wanted to turn it into a show. And what I mean by a show is when people leave after had a night with us, when they leave, they've got something to tell people the following day. Say, wow, did you see this? Did you see them do that? Well, what didn't they do that song well? What about this and what about that? So that they've got so they've experienced something. And I said to Nick 2-3 years ago, I wanted to make it into a show, and now I'm here full time. I've said to the lads, right, this is where we really start, because up till now I've just been playing at it. Really, we've not been serious. It's not been particularly structured, but it will be now. And if the guys think it's good now, and if the people think it's good now, you wait till Christmas time, until we've had time to really develop certain songs and certain aspects and performances of it. There'll be a lot more. It'll be a totally different show. They'll still retain the songs that have made us popular in the first place, but there'll be equally good, if not better, songs to come with performances that they've never seen us do. So yeah, they were, you know, if they're talking about it now, that they thoroughly enjoy it, then in 2015 it'll become a real experience. I think that's what I want to do.
Yeah, great.
Musically and visually.
Yeah. And usually when you have a gig like this, how do you prepare? Do you just get up in the morning and go to a gig, or do you have a routine that you have, or do you prepare many days ago?
Well, to give you an idea, and you experienced this with Embros Neros, I was preparing mentally, psychologically for Embros Neros 6 days before it happened, a week before, in here. How are we going to approach it? What songs are we going to do? Will there be many people turn up? What sort of people will there be? What songs will have the greatest impact? We even also have to think about, when it comes to Embros Neros, the fact that we're the last band on. So what will the other bands do? Will they play dance music? Will they do, will the people have been dancing for the last 3 hours? Will they be sick of dancing by the time we come on? So although there are certain songs like Spirit in the Sky and Dirty Woman, that they're in all the time, because people like them and we enjoy playing them, and so they're always in. But I had to wait almost the last half an hour before going on to know what songs will have the biggest impact. If for example, if the last 3-4 bands had just played ballads, the last thing they would want us to do is play a ballad, because they've heard it all night. And equally, if they'd have played dance songs and the whole place had been dancing all night for 2 or 3 hours, and we were going to come on and do some more dance stuff, they'd have probably been too tired to do that. But so preparation for songs is for an event like that. Although you start mentally preparing for it almost a week, well I do, a week before, wondering what, how many people and what type of people and the rest of it, what songs to do. It's really down to what the other bands have done prior to us going on. So that's that sort of event. A normal gig, when it's gig day, first thing in the morning, you've got a gig. You can't do much. You can't go. Well, I wouldn't go into Hania shopping and do things like that. I want to be fresh. I want to be alert. I want to be on it. And so I always have a pretty relaxed day, just pottering around the garden or playing some guitar by myself. And then I'll always have a 2 hours siesta from 3 till 5, and then shower for 6. And on the road for 6:30, 7:15, and then I'm mentally prepared, I'm rested, and I'm ready to rock and roll. Rock and roll. and so because the other thing, of course, and again this is down to experience. We've all done the parties. We've all done the 5-day partying where you've had no sleep at all. But at the end of the day, the time I make mistakes musically is when I'm tired. And you know that it isn't going to, if we're on at 9 o'clock for 2 hours, it's not a matter of of going home then at midnight, it will go on until you pat the gear down and one thing or another. It will go on till 2, 3, 4 in the morning, because you need to come back down because you've built yourself up for it, mentally and psychologically. You know, you've got to be on it. That's why you have to be alert. If somebody shouts out a comment, a derogatory comment, you've got to be able to answer it quick. And if you're tired, you can't, and he will make you look a fool. So you've got to be absolutely on it, and the only way to do it is to prepare properly for it, and that's what I do. Because you never know when some groupie might come running up and throw a tits in your face, or some gay guy comes up and shoves his arse in your face, or some guy shouts out, "Get off your crap." You've got to be able to deal with these things, and you can't do it if you've not been prepared. There you go.
This is the Indian industry
The only time
you will ever see.
we ever saw.
They don't want to do it in that order.
This is what we said. Listen,
You'll never see these again.
I was thinking, which song's this? Because I was thinking it was the lines of a song.
oh, it is.
Yeah.
She said there'll be no more lying, no more fooling around, no weekends away, no nights on the town. She said that's how she wants it, the way it's gotta be. If you're looking for trouble, boy, you'll get it from me. She said, get down on your knees, boy, do what you should. If you wanna be bad, then you gotta be good.
I just want to ask you, why do you use the Gretsch guitar as your main guitar?
Well, this little baby here, let me tell you a little bit about
Yeah.
it. This is, it's called a Gretsch 6120.
Okay.
That's the model name, and Eddie Cochran and Eugene Vincent used to use these sort of guitars. But this guitar just says rock and roll. It's what it says. It's a statement, rock and roll. But you know what's funny? I've got 30 guitars in my collection and adding to it every year. But this is the only guitar that I've ever had in the last 39 years that sound engineers have said, "Oh my God, what is that?" Right. And the reason they're saying it for that reason is, well, asking that question, is because it's a hollow body. You see, it's called a hollow body, so it's all hollow inside. These are called F-holes, and as you can see, it's great for keeping your packed lunch and your cigarettes in there and condoms, whatever you want to keep in there. Even dip beer in it and drink it later, whatever you want, or even cups of tea bags, everything was in there. But it resonates, and it's got a ginormous sound, as opposed to a solid guitar, which is solid mahogany. This is an ebony fingerboard. It's maple in good old tangerine, and it's great. And have you seen the Las Vegas casino dice there? And as you notice, it says 7. Lucky 7, you see.
Oh my God!
Yeah. And the other bonus about it, I mean, it's got a great. This is all very old, but in the old days they used to make things that work proper. So basically, if I press this down, it's on a spring, and it just gives you that little whammy noise. This is a volume knob. Now, this did have two of these switches, but this one was so useless, I just unscrewed it and pushed it through. Because it's not practical. Because every time I used to play, I used to knock this out, knock this, and it used to put the sound awful. So I only use this switch, and this one, when it's down, is that pickup there, that's a magnet. When it's in the middle, it's both of them. So that makes it very tinny. When it's both of them are on, it's a medium, a bit of tin and a bit of bass. When it's on this one, it's just bass, like a bassy tone,
Okay.
thick bassy tone. Very slim neck, so it's very fast. As far as necks go, it's very slim for my little fingers. lock-in machine heads, which these are what we call lock-in. So very simple to change a string within a minute. So it's very practical, as they're designed in 1959. And this, you might have seen me many times, this is my radio pack. I've got a receiver over there, this is the antennae, and it plugs into the guitar just like a normal guitar lead, but it enables me to run around town and do some shopping whilst playing a guitar solo. So that's what that is. So, and in the past people have said, there's no cable, he's playing a guitar, he's miming it. And I wouldn't do that if you asked me, if you paid me to do it. Although I did on Top of the Pops, but that's another story. So yeah, so this is what it is. This is an antennae radio thing, receiver. Well, the receiver is over there on the amplifier with two aerials. So wherever, it's got a distance of about 300 metres. So pretty good. I used to use this with Dr. Medics, that's why I brought it over to Crete.
Okay.
Playing on some seriously big stages. Yeah. So that's what I use. So that just plugs in normal into the guitar socket there, as there. And then I've got a switch and the little red light comes on. See that? That means obviously it's on. And it sends a signal to the receiver to say, yeah, we've got a receiver, a signal, it's good to go. So there you go.
Good.
Yeah.
And
That's it.
and I'm so curious at the other guitar, just because it's like a mirror.
Yes, it is. Yeah, well, this is very unusual in the sense that they've really fell in love with this guitar in Crete. I got this a few years ago in Chicago in an old. Look at that flame maple. That is. It looks like a flame. It's an absolutely beautiful guitar. Believe it or not, the reason it was in a junk shop is because the neck's bent, but nobody would know. Even I didn't know until my guys in England checked it out and they said the neck's warped, and that's why it was in a junk shop. But they set it up for me so that it plays great, and it's got the Hawaiian boat there and the palm trees. This is quite a common thing with steel resonator guitars. Solid steel, nickel plated. Some of the nickel's worn away. I had my guys put a pickup in here, which means I can amplify it through this input there, and it sounds great. And this is a bottleneck from a bottle of glass, and there you go.
Yeah, personally, I love that
Yeah.
guitar. It's so down to earth.
This is the only time you'll ever hear a guitar cry. So yes, so there's the old Hawaiian guitar, and it's got a great unique sound, and people love it. It just breaks the show up every night and gives everybody a different, takes them down to the Mississippi Delta for some cotton picking and the streets of Chicago. and it's just the most beautiful guitar. And I'm really pleased that I bought her and brought her to Crete, because the people of Crete love her to bits. So there we go. There's the steel guitar, folks.
I just want to ask a question. Is it any particular band that you want to see tonight? Is it any particular band that you want to see tonight? Carl. So what do you expect from him?
Lots of rock.
Songs.
Lots of rock.
I'll tell you what,
Good as he
Brick in the Wall,
normally
which
is.
he did in
In the Cotton Club.
he did it in Yopley Square.
Okay.
Brick in the Wall.
Pink Floyd.
What he done that, absolutely fantastic.
Okay, great.
Tell him Ray wants to hear it.
I just have a question. What do you want your legacy to be as a musician and as a private person?
Well, as a musician, I think I'd like other musicians to think what he did was relatively simple to do, but what he did well. And what a fun time he had, and made a lot of people laugh and a lot of people sing along and have a good time. So that would be nice. And as a person, I'd like to be remembered as being loving, caring, generous, a good person, and if what I want written on my gravestone is the words, "I told you I was ill," and I think that captures it all really. Even send off with a joke. Because life's all about laughing and living, and people take things a little bit too serious, I think, sometimes. And really, at the end of the day, as you get older, I find that when you're younger, you want all the things that, all the mod cons, all the sports cars, the big houses, this, that and the other, but then as you get older, you think, well, actually, you don't need that, I don't need that, I don't need that, I don't need that, and I don't need that. So, I think the perfect situation would be for a young man to live with an old man, and then all the young men will be saying, I want to buy a Lamborghini, I want to buy a Porsche 911, and this, that and the other, and I want a big mansion with 5 bedrooms and 15 bathrooms. And then the old man will say, well, actually you don't need that, you just need a 2 up, 2 down with plenty of beans in the cupboard, perhaps a dog, a pet dog or a pet cat to say hello to every morning, and take out for a walk for a bit of exercise. And that's all you need. So just keep life simple and enjoy it.
Good.
With the sunshine shining.
Yeah. And is it some last word you would like to say to the people who is watching this DVD?
Yes, rock and roll.